Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3533. Today's date is 12th of August 2025. It's been almost like a night at 9:52 a.m. Sorry, p.m. Sorry, 9:52 p.m. All right, we've been directly jump into the question. Let's go. All right, question is, you like taking risk? Agree or disagree? Do I like taking risk, or do I have do you take any kind of some risk in your life? Okay, that's a really good question. um I think um I am not a person that kind of somebody takes a risk. Okay, yeah. Okay, also the judgmental that I'm trying to tell you at the moment is because of I look at my personality from long point of perspective, as well as I'm actually looking at by myself from every possible way that I've been through. But it's not actually involve what will gonna happen in the future, because in the future I might gonna have some sort of I might gonna have to take some sort of risk. Okay, yeah. So uh, I'm not really sure. Okay, because I think that na ki risk is kind of like a depends on multiple factor. Important factor is how much is this essential, that why are you taking risk. Okay, like a reason for taking a risk. So let me tell you what exactly is this thing. Okay. um I believe, okay, I need to kind of like a think about very different point of perspective. Okay, yeah. Different point of perspective means what? Okay, let's just say that ki um, am I a very alcoholic person? No, I am not. I didn't really drink that much alcohol. Why I said this thing that I haven't really drink that much alcohol is because of that कि I seen so many people who drink so much amount of alcohol, and I am not drink that much. So I think I consider myself that I am not that much alcoholic person, right? Yeah. So comparison is actually started is because of that कि I have kind of like a something a reference frame. Okay, means like that I seen a people who is kind of like a drinking too much alcohol. So this is kind of like a reference frame that I have. So when I see that particular reference frame, I kind of like a judge myself that do I drink that much, and I don't really drink that much. So probably I am below that reference scale. So that's some kind of like a telling that ki I am not that much alcoholic person, right? Yeah. But this is I can't tell regarding about risk factor because of that ki I haven't really seen a people who are kind of like a simply taking a risk or things like that, or maybe I haven't really seen that thing. So at this moment I don't really have any reference point so that I would tell that ki am I kind of like a somebody person who would like to take a risk or not, because I don't really have a reference frame. Okay, yeah. So reference frame is a really much essential factor so that I would kind of like a tell that am I risky person or not. But regarding about the personality, because I look at my personality and I know myself from every possible way, and when I'm trying to look at myself in every possible way, I seen that ki I am not that much risky person. Okay, yeah. I like to take step a very tiny step today so that it will kind of like implement in the future. Okay, yeah. I believe in consistency and I believe in baby steps. Okay, yeah. So that I would kind of like do baby steps and kind of like it will impact, it will implement on the future. Okay, yeah. Um, I will only take the risk when it is very essential. Okay, and it will kind of like a simply impact on my life, on my core. Only and only that moment I will kind of like a simply take a risk. But still I can't say that thing because risk is kind of like a depend on multiple factors, situation and things like that. Okay, let me tell you. Okay, I am 32. almost 32. I am living with my parents. I am not earning any money. Okay, yeah. Uh, in 2020, when the COVID happened, I lost my job and I kind of like came home. Okay, yeah. But in 2021, kind of like a COVID is little bit mellow, and at that time I can get another job. Okay, yeah. But I choose that ki I shouldn't supposed to do a job. I have to be fully focused on content creation, and this is what it is. Okay, yeah. So I decided that ki I have to be fully focused on content creation. I shouldn't supposed to do a job. So is it risky? Yeah, it's a risky because of that ki if I'm not really doing a job, that means I'm not really earning any money. Okay, yeah. And if this thing happened, then probably it will shift my entire life. Like basically is this thing, it's a very risk. Like you don't really have any kind of like experience regarding about content creation and this and that, and you just kind of like a jumping on content creation so that you might gonna end up something really good or things like that. I don't know, but I have to be take that risk because of that ki my the inner voice or whatever it is kind of like a telling me that ki you have to do those things. You don't have to do a job. Okay, so that's why I took the risk. Okay, because it is really essential for me. One thing, it kind of like a something came inside of me that I have to do this thing. Okay, and another thing, I look at my life from long perspective that ki if I kind of like a do the job, if I don't really do any content creation, if I just do the job, then what would be my life became. I would kind of like a think about every possible scenario that what will gonna happen, how much money that I will gonna earn, and this and that and that, and all those reference point. I realize that ki I will not gonna kind of like a survive, or I will not gonna be a kind of like a person. If I just do a job, then probably I'm not gonna live more than 40-50 years. That's it. Okay, yeah. And basically I don't really see my purpose of my life if I just do a job. So all those kind of like a factor are kind of like a became so strong, and became so strong that it gives me a reason that do this content creation. Okay, yeah. And then it became essential for me, very essential for me. And since then I kind of like decided that let's do the content creation. Okay, yeah. I also accept that ki if I do this thing content creation, then people will kind of like look down on me. First of all, my parents. Okay, yeah, because my parents haven't really understand the content creation process. They don't really know what is actually implement on that thing, so they didn't really know anything about that. Okay, so I will gonna face a lot of backlashes, not only from parents, but from society, from people around me, from friends and everything. Okay, yeah. So you have to be kind of like a sustain that pressure. You have to be control the anger. You have to be kind of like you have to be change every possible scenario inside of you to kind of like a simply focus on how do you supposed to make content creation as much as better as you can. Also you have to be kind of like a simply accept that you will not gonna earn any single amount of money for at least 2 3 4 5 years. Like basically is 2025, and I lost my job at 7 I lost my job at May. Okay, probably May or April, but in 2020. Okay, and since then I'm not really earning any single amount of money. So basically I have to accept this thing that I will not gonna earn any single amount of money. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that when I take the risk, okay, when I take the risk, I figure it out, is this risk is really essential for me or not. Okay, one thing. Another thing, I also take that every possible scenario that if I take the risk, what will gonna happen? What will gonna possible result? This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. And all those possible result, do I agree that thing? Do I accept that thing? Like what is the possible result? That my parents will not gonna agree this thing. I have to be kind of like a look down. I don't really have that much confidence level and things, something like that. So do I accept this thing or not? Okay, because you shouldn't supposed to be accept this thing. You have to be kind of like a face that thing, like when this reality happened, like when your father, when your parents are kind of like a saying that you are pathetic, things like that, you shouldn't supposed to be argue with them. You just have to kind of like somebody just be there, or just do not argue with them, just like a listen whatever they are saying and just believe yourself that you could do that thing. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki, when I take the risk, I kind of like a look at every possible scenario, from what will gonna good thing happen, what will gonna bad thing happen if I take a risk. Okay, yeah. So this is what it is. So regarding about this thing, in the future, if I'm gonna take a risk, I will gonna make sure that risk is really much important, very 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 important. Okay, also let me tell you one thing. um Risk is depend on me. Like, what I'm trying to tell you is this thing: if I decide something, okay, yeah, and I will take the risk, so I'm gonna make sure that it implement on me. Okay, yeah. If it implement on other, then I will gonna make sure, I will gonna check double triple. Okay, what is actually implement? Okay, yeah, means like that. Okay, let me tell you one thing. I chose to be a content creation, and this is kind of like only risk that I take. Who is the person is actually affected by? Obviously me. I am the person, because of the I decide, and I am the person, I will gonna affected by this thing. Okay, yeah. So basically other people will not gonna affect. Like, basically my parents will gonna say something that ki, what are you doing with the life? Obviously they're little bit affected, but not really that much directly. Okay, yeah. I am the only one person that is affected. So I'm gonna make sure that if I'm taking a risk, it will gonna implement on me. Okay, yeah. But when you like in the future, I might gonna realize that in the future, I have to take some sort of risk that impact on others too. That impact on others too. So if I take a decide something, it is kind of like a risk, and it will impact on other, then I have to be make sure 100, 200, 300, or maybe 1000% that the decision that I'm taking is really 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 right. Okay, yeah. And if it is not, then I will not gonna take the risk. But still, I don't know, but it is very very essential. Like, basically I am not, I'm kind of like a decided that ki, if I take some sort of risk, I'm gonna make sure that ki, other people will not gonna affect that much, or like the, yeah, probably. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to tell you. So regarding about the risk, I am not that much risk taker. Okay, also I'm telling this thing without any reference point, so I'm not really sure that ki, how much am I that I don't really have a reference point, so I don't really sure regarding about am I risky person or not. Okay, yeah. Choose the content creation. This is the only one risk that I took in my life, and that's it. Okay, yeah. But other than that, in the future, I'm not really sure, because I don't really seen it. Okay, I can't predict. Okay, but I'm pretty much sure that in the future I might have might have to take some sort of amount of risk, and in that particular point I have to be, I don't know, look at the every possible result. This is what I will gonna say. But regarding about this question, and regarding about what I've been through in my life, and I'm looking at my personality from every possible way, I'm thinking that ki, I am not that much kind of like a risky person. Okay, yeah. But also I'm gonna ask one question, that ki, why people take risk? Okay, yeah. Like basically is this thing, taking a risk is good thing or bad thing? Okay, because I seen that ki, when people take risk, it's kind of like a something, it will kind of like a impact good thing, right? Well, I am not really agree for this statement. Okay, what is exactly risk? A risk means like that ki, you are taking a decision, it will kind of like impact your life very suddenly, very rapidly. Okay, and whatever the decision that is. Okay, I'm not really sure, like choosing like a particular anything, or I don't know what will gonna okay, yeah, but it will gonna impact on you in every possible way. Okay, yeah. So it's just like that ki, I am making sure that ki, why do I need to choose a risk, or why do I supposed to be kind of like a put myself in that particular situation that I have to take a risk. Okay, yeah, because when I take the risk, I will gonna lose something, or I will gonna kind of like a something. Yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki, if I realize that ki in the future I have to do this step, or I have to be kind of like a this thing. So I, from today, I am kind of like a implement little by little, look, take baby steps to kind of like a make sure that ki in the future I shouldn't supposed to be take that much risk. Huh, but I also prepared myself that ki when this moment happened, I have to be look on every possible way, every possible scenario, that make sure that risk is implement on me and it will not gonna affect. But still, I can't see the future. I don't I can't I don't know anything about at all. Okay, yeah. But regarding about risk factor, uh, I think that I am not that much risky person, probably, but still, it's a very unclear right now. Oh yeah, it's a very unclear. All right, yeah. By the way, I'm kind of like only express this question in very much better way and things like that. Yeah. But okay, we are just kind of like a something. We are talking about the risk, so let's just talk about the risk. Okay, yeah. Uh, okay. Uh, you have to do some sort of thing in the future. Okay, yeah. That is true. That is true. Okay. Let's just say that you are kind of like a something building the app artifact. All right, yeah. I will not gonna talk about the artifact, everything. Okay, yeah. Already mentioned regarding about what is actually my app and things is something like that. Okay, yeah. Let's just imagine. Okay, yeah, that key you actually kind of like a make this application for something really for right purpose. Okay, yeah, that key it will gonna implement, it will gonna kind of like a, it will gonna make the people life better and things and something like that, right? But what if it didn't really happen? What do you mean by that? Like a, let's just say that ki you are kind of like a making an app that people will gonna talk about kind of like their life and things and something like that, whatever their mind and thoughts and things like that, right? Yeah. But people utilizing this freedom for wrong purposes, then what would you do? Okay, yeah, let's just say that ki, okay, yeah, if you don't really understand, take an example of Instagram. Okay, yeah, let's just say Instagram. So Instagram is application, is not an application, is not a social media, no social media platform. Instagram is not made for social media platform. No, nothing at all. Let me tell you a little bit story regarding about Instagram. Also, the story that I'm told you right now about Instagram is not verified, or kind of like a something is this thing. I kind of like watch a couple of YouTube videos and I have heard about this story regarding about Instagram. Okay, I'm not gonna sure, but I think that almost like a 90 to 80% is right. Okay, yeah. So let me tell you what is actually Instagram. Okay, yeah. So Instagram is not made, is not a kind of like a social media platform. No, Instagram is app is actually made for photographer. What exactly is this thing? Okay, yeah, that key when the photographer, let's just say that key I am a photographer and I went to Paris. Okay, yeah, and I took a photo of a Eiffel Tower. Okay, yeah. I upload that photo on so Instagram platform. Okay, yeah. Instagram platform is a kind of like a only for photographers, so that they would kind of like a simply show their photographic skill. Okay, so that other photographer is kind of like a simply follow them. Okay, yeah, and get the inspiration and things like that. But one of the important feature for Instagram is actually kind of like a giving them is that location. What exactly is this thing? It means that ki, like most of the photographer are actually taking photo, but it's a very important factor that ki where does that photographer take that photo. Okay, yeah, location is really important, because let me tell you one thing. Let's just say you went to Canada and you are kind of like a simply have a like a really beautiful landscape. Okay, yeah, you really like this place and you kind of like took the photo and things like that. Okay, yeah. And you actually kind of like something earn so much amount of money from that photo, but you wanted to share that location so that other photographer is also kind of like a something, they will came to this location and they will gonna take the photos. Because let me tell you one thing, as a multiple photographer came, so that multiple kind of like a some variation of landscape photos we're gonna take, which is kind of like a really cool, like basically in photographer point of perspective, location is really matter, so that other photographer will kind of like share the location, and kind of like other photographer will came to that location and they will kind of take the photo. So this is what Instagram is actually offering. Okay, like right now in Instagram there is an option that you could kind of like simply put the location. Okay, yeah. So this is what really essential in the Instagram app. Okay, yeah. So that you could put the location with the photo, so that people will find out, oh, like this is photo is actually taking on this place. So basically other photographer will go into that place and they will gonna take this photo too. Okay, yeah. Like basically is this thing, if I went to the Paris and take the Eiffel photo and upload it on the Instagram platform, and basically other people will kind of like came to the Eiffel because of my location, and they will kind of like find out another angle to kind of like take a very creative photo of Eiffel Tower. So this is what Instagram for. Instagram is kind of like a somebody for the photographer, for kind of like a somebody the sharing the photographic skills that they have, or angles, or kind of like a somebody things, or what kind of like a creativity that he have, and as also the location. Okay, yeah. And so that other photographer is actually follow them and things like that. So this is the Instagram pitch. Okay, yeah. And this is actually for photographer. So the first logo of in the photo Instagram is a camera icon and things like that, because Instagram is actually made for the photographer. It's not made for social media. It's not nothing really at all. Okay, yeah. Right. So it's a really good thing, na? Right. It's a really good thing. But right now, if I'm trying to compare, the Instagram app is made for the photographer, but right now Instagram is kind of like simply became a social media platform. People are using not only just photography, but they are actually sharing their photos and things or something like that. What I'm trying to tell you is this thing, the core feature that Instagram is actually offering is gone. People are not actually taking the, like yeah, photographer is also posting the photo and things like that, but still the core principle of Instagram for the photographer is gone. Right now it's become social media, and there is like a very wrong purposes is actually using Instagram, like basically people actually uh, taking photos of their bikini photos, and they are kind of like putting their OnlyFans links on the Instagram platform and things like that. Right now Instagram is actually kind of like put the exclusive feature, so that kind of like somebody the people you could pay and they will kind of like see your something, I don't know, whatever it is. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, that key application change throughout the time. Okay, yeah. And people will kind of like utilize platform for kind of like somebody for wrong purposes or things like that, because Instagram is not actually made for that wrong purposes. But right now Instagram is actually using for wrong purposes, vertical video, reels and things like that. People are, yeah, addicted with these things, Instagram. So I'm gonna ask question to myself. Okay, that key, I am kind of like somebody making this application name Artifact. Okay, in this Artifact platform you have to be kind of like record your thoughts. Okay, share your thoughts with the people. Your privacy should supposed to be maintain, your privacy should supposed to be private. You don't, as a user, shouldn't supposed to be kind of like aware. User shouldn't supposed to be kind of like somebody, no, they like a privacy should supposed to be maintained. Okay, yeah. And they will kind of like share whatever they have thoughts and things like that. Okay, yeah. So if I'm kind of like giving the user all the kind of like things that they can do, all the things that they would kind of like say in my platform, they will gonna use this platform for very very wrong purposes, right? Yeah. So it will gonna kind of like something bad thing happen, or maybe the purpose that you are app will gonna serve, people are not actually serving that purpose. They are kind of like a utilizing for very wrong purpose. Let's just say that ki people are actually talking about their sex life, people are actually talking about the hate speeches, religious hate speeches or things or god knows what. So 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 basically what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki when you make the app, you are kind of like a risking people's life, because you are not really sure regarding about the future, what will gonna happen in the application. Okay, like Instagram is changed within a decade. So how do you make sure that your app will not gonna change, or like basically is this thing, if it change, if the people are actually using your platform for wrong purposes, then you are risking the billions of people's life, because artifact is actually implement in their head. Like basically Instagram doesn't really impact a lot that much, but artifact is actually impact you a really much. So how do you make so much sure that your application is not meant to be used for that wrong purposes? If it happened, then like basically this thing is like you are kind of like a gambling with the people's life, right? With this application, with this artifact. So this is kind of like one of the biggest risk, right? So you will gonna right, do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? So dude, okay, let me tell you something. I know from every possible way that ki okay, yeah. Or let me explain. Okay, as I mentioned regarding about the Instagram and things like that. Okay, yeah. I only told the story regarding about Instagram that ki the first of all, the Instagram is actually born for kind of like a some purpose for the photographer, but right now people are actually using for various reason. Okay, yeah. If I'm gonna say that ki Instagram is changed, yeah, I'm completely right. Instagram is actually changed. Okay, yeah. Yes, it kind of like a some impact bad to the people. Gen Zs are scrolling reels and things and that. All right, but it will happen something good too now, right? Like, why are you kind of like looking at only the bad point? Look at the bright side too now. Okay, yeah. Within a decade, Instagram is actually captured the almost like a 50 to 70% of entire population of the planet. Okay, yeah. Like because of the Instagram, people actually get some sort of recognition by kind of like only craft and things like that. I'm not saying that ki Instagram is kind of like a something became really good, but I'm not saying is a bad too. Like basically is this thing, every invention comes with a good thing and bad thing, right? Like basically is this thing now, let's just say internet. Okay, yeah. like like when the internet is kind of like a something boom, most of the people actually using internet for looking at the porn site, right? So basically is this thing, if I'm kind of like a looking at the all those possible wrong thing will happen, should I not supposed to be invented that thing, or should I supposed to be not invented the internet? Like basically the I don't know who actually invented the internet, but let's just imagine that the person who actually thought that ki if I kind of like invent this internet and people actually using it for porn and things or something like that, and he realized that ki, no, I can't control that thing, so I shouldn't supposed to be invented this internet, then probably the look at the world, what will gonna happen? Like imagine that ki if there is no world with the internet, let's just imagine that in 2025 we are internet is not exist. So what world that you are gonna see? Can you imagine that world? Like we can't imagine that world. Like internet is kind of like a very much essential part of our life. What I'm trying to tell you is this thing, every invention comes with the good things, every invention comes with a bad thing. bad thing comes first. Yeah, bad thing will come first. Every invention, like let's just say AI, let's just say internet, let's just say Instagram or whatever it is, everything, like a bad thing come first, good thing happen later. Okay, like basically is this thing, people actually using internet for porn and things like that, but after that people are actually kind of like a simply using create websites so that they would sell their product. Amazon born, and because of the Amazon, millions of people get jobs from the Amazon company. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki, if you just look at the only bad thing will gonna happen, then probably is this thing that ki, this is not a good, like I don't know. Look at the every possible, like every coin has its each side, good thing, good side or bad side. You just have to flip the coin first, na. Okay, yeah. Like it is really essential to kind of like somebody just do the thing. Okay, yeah. First, do the thing. Okay, definitely change will definitely gonna happen. Like every possible way, whatever it is, like a person, app, or everything is actually changed over the time, right? But it's not meant to be that na ki if such thing is happened wrong, then we shouldn't supposed to do that thing. Huh? It kind of like a something that na ki um it it I don't know, dude. Oh yeah, like I don't really think that ki probably is this thing that ki um because of my application people will gonna use for wrong purposes, then I shouldn't supposed to be kind of like a create this application. No, nothing at all. Okay, yeah, I will gonna make this application. Okay, yeah, definitely people will gonna kind of like utilize my application for wrong purposes, but I'm gonna make sure that people will not gonna use my application for wrong purposes. I'm gonna do all those steps so that it will not gonna happen, right? But soon, like a people comes with a different thought process and things like that, they will gonna find out every possible way. But what I'm trying to tell you, it's a kind of like a something that a stepping stone so that people will kind of like a diversify their things. Maybe other startup will gonna create so that they would kind of like a something equivalent to an artifact but something very different. They're actually talking about just a financial thing, or they're actually talking about something another thing. I don't know what will gonna happen in the future. Okay, yeah, but it is really essential to kind of like a somebody do the first step, initiate first. Don't think about good thing and bad thing. Like if bad thing happened, then we gonna make sure that ki little less bad thing happened. Like we can't stop the bad thing, definitely not, but we could make it little less, right? So we just do it. So regarding about the risk factor, yeah, I think that na ki in the future I have to take some sort of risk that will implement or that impact on others life, something that impact good or something that impact would be not good. I make sure that ki little less not good impact thing happen to the people, little less not good, like a little less bad thing happen to the people, little less, because I am not sure that I will gonna eliminate entire bad thing because I can't do that. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna make sure that it will gonna happen little less. So regarding about risk factor, am I too risky? I don't know. I think that I still don't know. If I'm kind of like a looking at my personality, then I would not that risk taker. But if I'm kind of like a looking at my purpose, that key, my purpose is to make this application. Okay, yeah. And if I make this application, it's one of the biggest risk. It will gonna impact on billions of people. So it's one of the biggest risk. Should I take that risk? I think I have to be take that risk. I don't know, but I think I have to be. So am I a very risky person? I don't know. I still don't know. I just don't know. My personality is not risky person, but my purpose it's something little bit risky. And it doesn't make me a risky person, but I don't know what is at least saying. I can't give the proper answer. This is it. This is the end. Thank you.